YOLO. Today I'm going to be sharing a few more trucking stories with you guys. Things that have happened over my 4 years of over-the-road trucking that I've done. So this first story takes place about 3 or 4 months ago. I was at a terminal getting a full service done on the truck, so it was going to be out of commission for like 18 to 20 something hours. But I had a load on the trailer that needed to be delivered. So I was out of commission, I wasn't going to be able to do it. I had to swap trailers with another one of our drivers. I get to the terminal at about noon. I was given the name and the number of the driver who I was swapping with, and I text the guy. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm here. Just let me know what your ETA is so I can help you swap over all the tarps and chains and everything. And then I hear nothing from the guy. 1 o'clock comes and goes. 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, I tried calling and texting him again. Nada. Zilch. Nothing. By about 7 o'clock in the evening, he sends a text saying 9:45 p.m. That's literally all the guy said. I spent all day waiting. I tried calling and communicating with him, and he just said one single time. So I'm like, well, fine. That's annoying, but maybe he's busy. So he ends up rolling into the yard, and he seems like he's in a pissed mood. I wave him down, and I let him know which trailer it is, and he drives up next to the thing, and our company has a policy where you have to goal, G-O-A-L, get out and look, every time you reverse and back up so you don't accidentally hit something. He did not do that. He whipped it around, pulled up, and backed up, and sideswiped another one of our trucks, bending the side mirror in and cracking it against the window. He then repositioned himself, so he pulled back out forward and sideswiped the trailer in the truck, doing long scratch marks along the side before he got himself parked. So I wait, he gets parked, he deconnects from his trailer, and then I'm helping him move stuff back and forth, and he's just kind of a real pissy dude. So I don't want to talk with him, but I'm like, hey man, I just wanted to point out here that you did hit this truck. I'm not going to say anything about it right now because it's late at night and I don't want to have to call into safety and whatnot, but I'm like, hey, I'm going to let them know in the morning. And he's like, blah, 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 and just starts mouthing off. So I'm like, not my problem. So morning comes around, and I'm sitting there, and I look over, and I see his truck is gone, so he took off at some point during the night. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I bet you he did not call and report that. Now, our yard has cameras, so they're going to see what happened. But my main concern was the truck that he had damaged is now parked next to the trailer that I'm going to be connecting to. So it will look like my truck and trailer caused the damage to it. And I'm not going to take the fall for some random guy who is being a total jerk. So I go ahead and I call into safety, and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to report an accident that happened on our site, blah, blah, blah. And the safety guy was one of the weekend crew, so he wasn't really much help. He's like, all right, I'll make a note of it. Thank you for letting me know. About an hour later, I get a message through our work app from one of the heads of safety saying to give him a call, and here's his personal number because he's not in the office on the weekend. So I call the guy, and I hear the sound of a lawnmower in the background. He's like, I'm sorry about the lawnmower. I'm just mowing the lawn right now, but I've got you on the headset, so let's go ahead and talk about what truck you hit. I'm like, hold on, right there. This is exactly why I called it in. I did not hit the truck. He's like, I was told you called in about hitting a truck. I'm like, I called in about a truck getting hit, not about me hitting it. I'm totally snitching and narking on another driver right now. So I explained the situation to him, and he was super pissed that the other driver didn't report it. That was the worst of it, because he's like, I get that long days, blah, 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 you don't get out and look, but not reporting it, that is not acceptable. So I had made sure that he knew it wasn't me, that it was that guy. I told him which bay it was across from, what time of day, the name and number of the guy, his truck number. I had like everything down and ready because in the back of my mind, I kind of suspected this guy wasn't going to own up to his mistake. Then about a day or two later, I get a call from my fleet manager saying that the paperwork for that load that I had swapped off wasn't properly scanned in, so I need to rescan it. And I tell him, I'm like, I don't have that paperwork because I did a trailer swap with another driver who ended up hitting something at the terminal. And he's like, oh, it was that guy. No wonder the paperwork's not scanned in. He's not with the company anymore. So because he did not call in his mistake, he ended up losing his job. So moral of the story, whenever you mess up, just completely own up to it. Or I guess alternative moral of the story, always throw somebody under the bus if you think it's going to end up costing you your neck because they're going to be irresponsible. Either way, I was in the clear and that guy got what was coming to him. Now, this next story is almost a total opposite. Whereas the last story was more aggravation and, negativity, this one, way more positive and sweet, and it's a lot shorter. But last week, I had stopped off at a rest area to use the restroom and do my 30-minute break. And when I got out, it was one of these newer updated rest areas that have the ground speakers set in. So it almost looks like a small bush, but it's artificial and it's just playing music. And I think it was playing something by Frank Sinatra. So more of those older classicer vibes. I'm not thinking much of it. I'm just, walking into the restrooms like, man, that was really nice outside. And the benches are new. The faucets and everything are nice and clean. I go outside and it was adorable. And I had this big old ear-to-ear grin and I felt all the warm and fuzzy inside because I saw a young couple just dancing right next to one of those bushes, holding each other. I was like, aw, that's just so sweet. I had a massive grin and I just kind of walked by and gave them a little nod. I didn't want to interrupt their moment. But yeah, I'm a hopeless romantic and a total sucker for things like that. And now this third story is about the time that I almost killed someone while driving. I was, I think, 2 years into driving, and I got unloaded, so I had nothing on the trailer. So my total combined vehicle gross weight was about 30,000 pounds. And that's very important, because when I'm loaded, it's typically closer to like 75 to 80,000 pounds. The amount of weight increases how much stopping speed, like how much distance I need to stop, regardless of how fast the truck is actually moving. And I was on the highway heading over towards Memphis, Tennessee to pick up another load. I'm driving in the right-hand lane, the slower lane, like you're supposed to, and there's a car behind me tailgating me, and then there are people passing me on the left-hand side. Now, most of the time I don't really care about tailgaters, but whenever I see one, I always got to keep that in mind, because if I try to slam my brakes, they could end up getting stuck under my DOT bumper in the back of the trailer and get dragged for who knows how long by the time it takes me to stop. And if it's a convertible, then it could possibly kill the person. So I always have to keep that in mind of who's around me and what kind of car they're driving. That way they get to make it home for Christmas. And then the road rage guy comes. There's an on-ramp, and he decides to speed up on the on-ramp and match the flow of traffic. So he's now driving on the right-hand side of me as the on-ramp is quickly running out. I've got people on my left-hand side passing me, and I've got someone tailgating me, so I can't slow down for him. All I can do is maintain my speed. And the trucks that we have at the company, they're speed locked, so I can't go any faster. I'm stuck at 65 right now. And this guy is matching my speed, and he starts honking, and he rolls his window down and starts flipping me off because he's running out of room to merge on. So he hits his brakes, drops back behind the guy tailgating me, and then immediately cuts over 2 lanes of traffic to the right-hand side. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, he merged over. He's going to go blitz right past me, probably like 90 miles an hour to try and get ahead. So I'm keeping an eye on him as he starts driving up alongside the left-hand side of me. I'm keeping an eye on the guy behind me, who has now started to back off slightly, so he's not directly riding my bumper anymore, so I got a little bit of room. And then the guy cuts over diagonally in front of me, flips me off again, and then brake checks me. Now, on my right-hand side at this point was a guardrail before a steep drop-off because the on-ramp had ended, and then the hills we were on over there in Tennessee, it would have just been a drop. I would have rolled. On my left-hand side are still other people driving past. the tailgater had moved off slightly, and that was the only reason that this guy lived. Because my options were either plow into the back of this guy at 65 miles an hour, guaranteed to kill him, or brake check, or like hard brake, I should say. I hard brake and possibly kill the guy behind me who was doing nothing wrong. So thankfully the guy behind me had backed off, so I was able to slam my brakes, and since the truck was empty, it gave me enough room that I was able to stop in time before hitting the guy. But if I was loaded, guaranteed death for that guy. Or if I was still being tailgated, guaranteed death for that guy. And there's one of those times where there's literally nothing I could have done. So if things had not gone in this perfect scenario where the other guy backed off and I was empty, I would have killed the guy. So yeah, don't ever cut off a truck driver or decide to go and brake check them, because those are the kind of things that we're paying attention to, and if it comes down to it, I will choose to kill you to save innocent people around me, and possibly myself, because if I had gone right, I would have rolled the rig and could have died. What a very happy and totally not morbid and ominous note to end today's video on. But yeah, sometimes things like that happen, and you just can't react angrily. Let me know in the comments below what you would have done if you were in that scenario. Or alternatively, what's your worst road rage story of someone who just decided to flip you off, or maybe they tailgated you for miles till you got to your exit? I want to know if I'm just the only one out here seeing these worst possible drivers, or if other people have stories that blow mine completely out of the water. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Try to stay safe out there. There are a lot of really bad drivers on the road. And as always, I'll catch you on the flip side.